Catus, Maximus here, this time with a review of Montgomery Ward Powr-Kraft. This happens to be a double box end wrench, but their combination open end and box end wrenches are also designed the same way. And I call these semi-low profile. And you can see what's the most obvious about these is they have this strange taper on the box end. But if we look at the wrench itself, it's flat. So you think, well, that's kind of interesting. But instead of doing something which is more standard and gives you a stronger buckle, which is forging it with the 15-degree angle like this right into the end of the wrench, what they've done here is they've decided to... It's kind of interesting, but it seems what they've done is they actually forged this, broached it at the 15-degree angle, and then ground, but it's not really ground because we can see the rough surface on both ends. So it was actually forged like this, but then it was tilted at 15 degrees when they broached it. And this is an easier way to see it is if we have it on a fastener here. As far as the sizing, this 15/16 is 23.8 millimeters, really close to 24. We can see it's oversized by about 1/4 of a millimeter, which I find interesting. But it's pretty decent sizing when we have it on this 24 millimeter socket when this is supposed to be exactly 23.8, being 15/16. We can see that the broaching is pretty accurate, but that's just the one interesting thing I wanted to talk about this wrench, and something I just haven't seen on other wrenches is the fact that what they've done is they've basically made a straight wrench and then done an angled broach, and then this bottom surface here is the surface that's also angled at 15 degrees. And I think the whole idea was that you had this slightly thinner loop right at the tip so that you could get it into slightly tighter places or give it a little bit more access. The only thing that's a little bit odd, I find strange, is when you're putting it on, like say this way, you just have this kind of odd angle, and it almost looks like the wrench, it looks like the wrench is totally, cockeyed on the fastener, but it's not. But it kind of makes it awkward because if you're trying to fiddle with something and get the wrench on, you're trying to kind of feel and get the wrench on straight, where in this case what you're doing is you're kind of feeding in one edge before the other, and so it makes it kind of awkward. And I can see why manufacturers don't go with that, as well as just the fact that you have made this end of the buckle pretty thin this way, so what you end up doing is having to make it a little bit thicker this way so that it doesn't want to break as easily. But kind of interesting. It was a interesting take on the double box wrenches, having a I would call these a straight back 15-degree angle box wrench. Just thought it was interesting, wanted to share it with you all. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Till next time, Catus, Maximus out.